Something just changed, and nobody can fully explain it yet. Not the fans, not the drivers, and honestly, not even the people inside NASCAR. So before you brush this off, you need to hear this, because if you miss one piece of it, the whole situation stops making sense. This isn't just about a YouTuber getting a shot. This feels bigger, like a rule was drawn, defended, and then quietly erased when nobody was looking. And the uncomfortable question sitting underneath all of it is simple. Why now? You know the name, Garrett Mitchell. Or more likely, you know him as Cleetus McFarland, 31 years old. Built a massive empire doing insane things with cars. Burnouts, drag races, wild builds that make millions stop scrolling. A huge audience, a real influence. But somewhere along the way, that stopped being enough. And that's where things start to feel different. Because wanting to race and actually belonging out there are not the same thing. And NASCAR doesn't care about your views. It doesn't care about your subscribers. It doesn't care how loud your fan base is. It cares about one brutal question. Can you handle 200 miles per hour with 30 other drivers inches away without destroying everything? That's where this story really begins. And to his credit, he didn't try to cheat the system. No shortcuts. He stepped into real racing. The ARCA Menards Series. Actual competition, actual pressure. And then something happened that made people stop and look twice. He signed with Richard Childress Racing. Yeah, that RCR. One of the most respected, historic teams in the sport. The kind of team that doesn't gamble its reputation lightly. And suddenly, this wasn't just content anymore. This was serious. But here's the part nobody ignored. Before all of this, he had exactly one major NASCAR start. One, a truck race at Daytona. That's it. So when that RCR deal dropped, the reaction wasn't quiet. It was immediate. Drivers started talking. Veterans started watching. And then, the tension really hit. Because one voice didn't hold back. Kyle Busch, a champion, a veteran, someone who says exactly what he thinks. And what he said hit hard. He made it clear. This level isn't for shortcuts. Seats like this are earned, not handed out because of popularity. And just like that, the debate exploded. Then came Rockingham, his first real test at that level. And if you only look at the numbers, it looks bad. Started 33rd, finished 32nd. Multiple spins. Laps down, doesn't sound great. But that's not the full story. Because here's what doesn't show up on paper. He didn't wreck the field. He didn't trigger chaos. He didn't take anyone else out. He kept the car in one piece. And in this sport, that matters more than people admit. Especially in a field full of drivers who've been doing this their entire lives. And that's where things get interesting. Because while some people saw failure, others saw potential. He even grabbed a top 5 in ARCA that same weekend, quietly proving this wasn't a complete disaster. And RCR noticed. They saw enough to push forward. They went back to NASCAR, asked for the next step, Talladega. And right there, everything stopped. Because NASCAR said no, not hesitation, not maybe, just no. One race wasn't enough. Not for a track like that. Because Talladega isn't normal. It's chaos at full speed. One mistake, and half the field is gone in seconds. And NASCAR wasn't willing to risk it. Even people rooting for him understood that decision. But still, it hit. Because he had done everything right. Stayed clean, stayed controlled, proved he belonged, at least a little. And it still wasn't enough. That kind of rejection? It lingers. Especially when you're trying to prove you deserve a seat in a world that doubts you. But this is where everything flips. Because that no didn't last. Now suddenly, he's approved again. May 30th, 2026. Nashville Superspeedway. Number 33. RCR. Green light. And just like that, the door that was slammed shut is wide open again. And here's the part nobody can explain. What changed? Because don't let anyone tell you Nashville is easy. It's not. Faster, more technical, less forgiving, a real step up, real consequences. And yet now it's allowed. He announced it himself. Excited, fired up, ready. Told fans to show up. Said he's putting in serious work. Simulator time, training, preparation, not playing around anymore. And then he said something small, but important. He knows he still has things to figure out. That honesty? That's not content. That's real. RCR backed it up too. Short, confident, all in. The hype is building fast. But underneath that hype, there's a split. And it's getting louder. Some fans are nervous. They see risk. They remember the spins. They hear the criticism, and they agree with it. Others? They see something completely different. They see a story unfolding in real time. A guy stepping into the deep end, with the whole world watching. And that's the part that changes everything. Because most drivers grow up in this. Years of grinding before anyone notices. Quiet development. Private mistakes. He doesn't get that. Every lap is public. Every mistake is amplified. Every moment judged instantly. That's pressure most drivers never face. And Nashville? That's the next test. If he runs clean, stays out of trouble, maybe even gains a few spots, everything shifts again. Doors reopen. Narratives change. People start believing, but if it goes wrong, it gets loud. Really loud. Criticism comes back stronger. Questions get sharper. And suddenly, that original no starts to feel justified again. That's what's waiting. And he knows it. That's why he's preparing the way he is. Because underneath all of this, there's one truth he's starting to understand. This sport doesn't care who you are. It doesn't care where you came from. It only cares about what happens when the green flag drops. And Nashville? That's where the answer starts to show. But even bigger than that is the thing nobody has answered yet. NASCAR said no. Then they said yes. And somewhere in between, something changed. We just don't know what. Yet. So now the question is, when May 30th comes, are you watching this unfold? Or are you still not convinced he belongs? Because this story, it's not settling down. It's just getting started.